Taurus, avoid this color for April 19th, 20 and 22, or you'll lose your money and power in 2026. Taurus, before you scroll away, pause for one holy moment, because what you are about to hear may look small on the surface, yet it carries the weight of a turning point over your money, your favor, and the quiet authority God has been preparing to restore in your life. There are seasons when heaven does not warn us through thunder, but through symbols, through subtle discomfort, through the strange feeling that something no longer belongs on our spirit, even if it once felt familiar. And for you, Taurus, April 19th, 20th, and 22nd are not ordinary dates. They feel like simple days on a calendar, yet beneath them runs a deeper current, a spiritual whisper, a sacred invitation to notice what kind of energy you are wearing, what kind of message you are sending, and whether your soul is preparing for increase or unconsciously rehearsing loss. This is not about superstition. This is not about giving power to a color. This is about discernment, because sometimes a color becomes a mirror, and the mirror reveals whether you are walking in faith, peace, and expectancy, or still carrying fear, heaviness, and an old survival self into a new season of blessing. Taurus, hear me clearly, because this message is not here to frighten you. It is here to wake you up gently before another cycle hardens around your finances, your confidence, and your future influence. There is one color that may seem harmless during these dates, yet for your spirit, it can symbolize closure instead of expansion, burden instead of favor, and emotional weight instead of divine flow. And when you wear what agrees with the wrong season, you may not lose because the color has power over you, but because it reflects an inner agreement that heaven has already been asking you to break. That is why this message matters. Because what closes the door to prosperity is rarely one dramatic mistake. More often, it is a quiet pattern, a repeated energy, a familiar tone of fear control, wounded pride, or exhaustion that follows you into decisions about money, worth, and timing. In Buddhist wisdom, attachment clouds clear seeing. In Christian faith, fear can keep a person from receiving what grace has already made available. And in this sacred moment, Taurus, both truths meet. You are being asked to notice what you are holding, what you are repeating, and what outward choices may be reflecting an inward resistance to abundance. So, if you have been feeling oddly tired, unusually protective, emotionally guarded, or uncertain about your next financial step, do not dismiss that feeling. Your spirit may already know that a shift is near. Your blessing may already be close enough to disturb everything in you that was built around lack. And that is why you must stay with me until the end of this message. Because what seems like a warning about a color is actually a revelation about alignment, wealth, and the kind of inner posture that can either protect your future or quietly weaken it before 2026 begins to unfold. If this message is reaching you at the exact right time, claim it below and write, "I choose God's favor, peace, and true abundance." Like this video as a sign that you are no longer dressing your soul in fear. Subscribe if you are ready to walk into a richer, steadier, holier version of your life. And share this with another Taurus whose spirit may be standing at the edge of a breakthrough without even knowing it yet. Because sometimes the first sign that your life is about to change is not chaos. It is a whisper telling you do not carry the old energy into the room where your blessing is waiting. And Taurus, if your heart felt this before your mind understood it, that is not an accident. Some messages arrive as logic, but others arrive as recognition. This may be one of those moments. So breathe deeply, stay open, and listen closely, because the next truth may reveal why heaven is protecting your wealth by teaching you what not to carry any farther into the next season of favor, peace, and increase. Taurus, what is happening around you in these days is deeper than appearance, deeper than fashion, deeper even than the color itself, because this moment is not truly asking what you wear on your body, but what your spirit has been wearing in silence. The dates, April 19th, 20th, and 22nd, carry a symbolic pressure for you. Not because the stars are rulers of your destiny, but because they can act like a language, a mirror, a quiet system of signs that helps reveal what is already moving inside your heart. And for Taurus, the soul lessons are almost always connected to value, stability, self-worth, money, possession, safety, and the deep desire to build a life that cannot easily be shaken. That is why this message matters so much. Because when your season begins to change, heaven often touches the very area where you seek security. And for you, that area is closely tied to finances, personal power, and the feeling that your life is standing on solid ground. So when we speak about avoiding a certain color on these days, we are not speaking as if a shade of fabric has magical control over your future. No, we are speaking about resonance. We are speaking about agreement. We are speaking about the mysterious way outward choices can sometimes reveal inward conditions before the mind is ready to admit them. There are colors that can symbolize peace, renewal, softness, and trust. And there are colors that in certain seasons may reflect emotional heaviness, inner resistance, guardedness, pride, fatigue, or an old identity still bracing for loss. Taurus, if you have been carrying pressure in your chest, fear about money, frustration around timing, or a hidden need to control every next step, then even small choices may begin to echo that inner state. This is why discernment matters now. In Buddhist understanding, the suffering is rarely caused by the object itself. It is caused by attachment, by clinging, by the illusion that safety can be forced through control. In Christian understanding, blessing flows most freely where trust, surrender, and faith make room for grace to enter. And for you, Taurus, these two wisdom streams are meeting right here. You are being shown that wealth is not only about what enters your hands, it is also about what atmosphere surrounds your decisions. Peace creates clarity. Fear distorts timing. Faith opens doors. Inner panic closes them. And when the soul is still dressed in an old season, it becomes harder to recognize the favor that is already approaching. That is what may be happening now. You may not be under attack as much as you are under invitation. An invitation to stop identifying with the tired version of yourself that only knows how to survive. An invitation to stop wearing symbols that match emotional armor instead of spiritual openness. An invitation to prepare for 2026, not with anxiety, but with alignment. Because the next chapter of prosperity in your life will not be sustained by force. It will be sustained by wisdom, emotional cleanliness, spiritual steadiness, and a heart that no longer confuses tension with strength. God does not increase you so you can live more afraid. He increases you so you can reflect peace, integrity, and holy abundance. And the more your outer choices agree with that truth, the more your inner world begins to settle into the frequency of provision. So do not hear this as a superstition. Hear it as a sacred reset. Hear it as a whisper saying, Taurus, let your life agree with the blessing you have been praying for. If this is your season to release the old and receive true abundance type. Below, I align with peace, favor, and prosperity. Like, subscribe, and share this message as an act of faith that your future will not be ruled by fear, but protected by wisdom, guided by God, and strengthened by the calm power of a soul finally ready to receive more. And when you choose with awareness, even color becomes a prayer. Without words, a signal to heaven, your own spirit, and your future. I am ready for clean increase, peace, and favor at last. Taurus, the truth you need now is deeper than a warning, deeper than a color, deeper than the surface fear of losing money or power, because what truly drains a person's blessing is almost never the object they touch, wear, or see. It is the agreement they keep making with an old version of themselves. And this is the central truth for you in this sacred window of April 19th, 20th, and 22nd. You do not lose wealth because a color is cursed, and you do not lose favor because the universe is against you. You lose momentum, clarity, and influence when you continue carrying the inner energy of fear, control, pride, heaviness, and hidden scarcity into a season that is asking you to walk by faith, peace, and spiritual maturity. So yes, Taurus, there are colors you should avoid on these dates, but not because fabric has power over your destiny. Avoid them because they may mirror the exact emotional state that heaven is asking you to release. The first is harsh black, especially all black clothing that feels emotionally closed, severe, or heavy. Black can be elegant, but in this window it may symbolize grief you have not processed, distrust you have not softened, and the silent belief that protection must come through emotional distance. If you wear it from a place of fear, it can reflect a soul still bracing for loss. The second is aggressive dark red, the kind that feels sharp, hot, prideful, or restless rather than warm and alive. On these dates, that shade can echo urgency, anger, domination, wounded ego, or money decisions made from pressure instead of wisdom. The third is murky deep green, especially tones that feel dull, stagnant, possessive, or spiritually heavy, rather than fresh and renewing. For Taurus, this can symbolize attachment, clinging financial anxiety, and the old belief that security comes from gripping harder instead of trusting deeper. Do you see the truth now? The danger is not the color alone. The danger is what the color may awaken, confirm, or conceal inside you. Taurus. This is where the spiritual lesson becomes holy. There are people who pray for abundance while still dressing their mind in fear. There are people who ask God for increase while secretly agreeing with exhaustion, bitterness, jealousy, and control. There are people who want a new year of prosperity while emotionally living in an old season of defense. And when that happens, even the opportunities sent to bless them can feel delayed, distorted, or strangely out of reach. Not because heaven has forgotten them, but because their inner posture is still speaking the language of lack. In Buddhist wisdom, what you cling to begins to shape how you suffer. In Christian truth, what you trust begins to shape how you receive. That is why this moment matters so much. Because your future money, your future authority, and your future peace in 2026 will be influenced by more than external circumstances. They will be influenced by whether you finally stop honoring the fearful self that thinks tension is strength and control is safety. Taurus. Sometimes you have survived so much that caution starts to feel like identity. Guardedness starts to feel like wisdom. Emotional heaviness starts to feel normal. But heaven is not calling you into another year of merely surviving. God is calling you into increase with peace, grace with stability, blessing with clean hands and a calm spirit. And that means the old energy has to go. So when I tell you to avoid harsh, black, dark, aggressive red, and murky, deep green on April 19th, 20th, and 22nd, hear the deeper message beneath the message. Avoid the energy of emotional shutdown. Avoid the energy of reaction. Avoid the energy of anxious attachment. Avoid the version of you that still believes power comes from hardness and money comes only through strain. Your real authority, Taurus, will return when your spirit becomes clear again. Your money will flow more wisely when your choices stop being led by fear. Your favor will become more visible when your heart stops fighting the peace that blessing needs in order to land. Remember, Taurus, heaven is not humiliating you with this message. Heaven is protecting you. This is not punishment. It is preparation, not rejection, but redirection, not fear, but mercy. The Lord may be removing a wrong agreement now so that your hands will be ready to hold the wealth, peace, and influence that belong to you. This is your turning point. If you receive this, do not brush it off. Let it become a sacred act of alignment. Choose tones that feel lighter, calmer, cleaner, and more open to grace. Let your outer choices agree with your prayers. Let your appearance agree with the life you are asking God to build. Let your spirit say, I am no longer partnering with loss, panic-wounded pride, or hidden scarcity. I am ready for holy abundance, protected favor, and restored power. And if your soul knows this message is for you, comment, now I release fear and receive God's peace, money, and power. Like this video to seal that intention. Subscribe if you are ready to walk into 2026 with wisdom instead of heaviness. And share this with another Taurus, because one small act of awareness can break an old cycle before it steals another year of blessing. Taurus, this is the moment where you stop listening only with your mind and begin listening with your spirit. Because a message like this is not meant to end as information. It is meant to become a decision, a turning point, a quiet, holy ritual between you, God, and the future that is still being shaped by what you choose today. If you have stayed with me this far, then something in your soul already knows that this is not just about color, not just about caution, and not just about avoiding one small mistake. This is about agreement. This is about what you are willing to release so that blessing can find you without resistance. This is about whether you are ready to stop wearing fear, stop protecting old pain, and stop carrying an identity that was built in lack into a year that wants to introduce you to overflow. So now, Taurus, I want you to slow down and take one deep breath. Let your shoulders soften. Let your chest open. Let the noise around you fade for one sacred moment. And quietly ask yourself, what have I been wearing in my spirit that no longer belongs in my next season? Is it fear of loss? Is it the need to control every outcome? Is it the hidden belief that money only comes through struggle, that power only stays through pressure, or that peace must always be postponed until everything is finally secure? Be honest, because truth is where healing begins. In Buddhist wisdom, awareness is the first gate to freedom. In Christian faith, surrender is where grace begins to move. And right here, both are inviting you into the same holy act release. So on April 19th, 20th, and 22nd, let your actions become a soft ritual of alignment. Do not choose what feels heavy, guarded, severe, or emotionally closed. Do not dress yourself in the visual language of pressure. Instead, choose what feels clean, calm, open, and full of light. Let your clothing become a prayer without words. Let it say, I am ready for peace. I am ready for wisdom. I am ready for favor. I am ready for clean money, stable increase, and protected power. Because sometimes the soul steps into a new timeline, not through one dramatic event, but through one sincere act of agreement, repeated with intention. And now, I want you to make this personal. Type these words in the comments as your sign of faith, your act of release, your declaration before heaven, and before your own spirit. I release the old energy. I receive God's blessing, money, and power with peace. Write it slowly. Feel it as you write it. Let it become more than a comment. Let it become your line in the sand. Let it become the moment you stop feeding fear and start partnering with favor. And as you type it, do not think of yourself as begging for abundance. Think of yourself as finally becoming available for what God has already been trying to place in your hands. If this message touched something real in you, like this video, as an act of agreement, subscribe if you are ready to keep walking this path of healing wisdom and holy prosperity with me. Share this message with another Taurus who may be standing too close to an old cycle to recognize it alone. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do is help another soul step away from what drains them before it becomes another year of delay. Taurus, your future is not asking you to become someone false. It is asking you to become someone clear. Clear in faith. Clear in value. Clear in spirit. Clear enough to receive what matches peace instead of panic. So let this be your ritual. Let this be your reset. Let this be the moment your outer choices begin to agree with your inner prayers for this next sacred season. And may God bless your path with favor your hands, with increase your heart with calm authority, and your life with the kind of wealth that does not steal your peace, but proves heaven has touched your name. Taurus, as we come to the end of this message, I want you to feel how gently everything returns to the place where it began, because the deepest truths in life often move in circles. We started with a color, with a warning, with a whisper that something small on the outside may be reflecting something far greater within. And now you can see it more clearly. This was never only about what you wear on April 19th, 20th, and 22nd. It was about what you have been carrying in your spirit, what you have been agreeing with in silence, and what kind of energy you are bringing into the doorway of 2026. Taurus, some people think destiny changes only through giant events, but often it changes through quiet choices, repeated thoughts, and the sacred courage to stop calling old heaviness your identity. Sometimes the future begins to heal the moment you stop dressing yourself in the memory of fear. So as you leave this message, do not leave with superstition. Leave with awareness. Leave with holy discernment. Leave with the understanding that a color is only a symbol, but symbols matter because they reveal what the heart may still be holding. If a certain shade makes you feel closed, burdened, restless, severe, or emotionally armored, then listen to that. If something in you already knows it carries the energy of strain rather than peace, of pressure rather than trust, then honor that inner knowing. Because this next chapter of your life cannot be built on the same spiritual atmosphere that exhausted the last one. God is not calling you into 2026 to repeat the old cycle with better decoration. He is calling you higher. He is calling you into blessed clarity, into mature peace, into abundance that is clean, stable, and deeply aligned with your soul. And Buddhist wisdom would remind you of the same mystery in another language. What you release can become the very gate through which freedom enters. Taurus, do not underestimate the power of small obedience. Do not underestimate what happens when your outer life begins to agree with your inner prayer. The right choice made in stillness can protect more than you realize. It can protect your confidence before an important decision. It can protect your peace when pressure rises. It can protect your finances from fear-based timing. It can protect your authority from being weakened by emotional confusion. This is why the message mattered. Not because heaven wants you anxious, but because heaven wants you awake. Not because you are cursed, but because you are chosen for a wiser path. Not because loss is chasing you, but because blessing is near enough that you are being taught how to receive it properly. So when April 19th, 20th, and 22nd arrive, remember this moment. Remember that you are not a prisoner of symbols. You are a steward of energy. You are a guardian of your peace. You are a soul learning how to walk with God through both wisdom and grace. Choose what feels clear. Choose what feels light. Choose what reflects faith instead of fear. Choose what helps your spirit breathe, your heart soften, your mind settle, and your future open without resistance. And if this message has spoken directly to your spirit, then do not leave quietly. Comment below. I choose peace, favor, and true abundance. Like this video to seal your agreement with a better future. Subscribe if you are ready to keep walking into deeper healing, stronger discernment, and the kind of prosperity that does not steal your soul. Share this with another Taurus who needs this sign before stepping into the next season. And now, I leave you with this Taurus. If God is preparing to increase your life, do not carry the energy of loss into the room where your blessing is waiting. Let this be the moment you choose peace over fear, light over heaviness, wisdom over old habit, and faith over silent scarcity. Your next season is listening to what you agree with now. And may every small choice you make now become an invitation for favor, protection, provision, and restored power to recognize you.